Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am 7Draws6 and I am here with the prologue of my next Let's Play. And I know that a lot of people are now saying like, oh my god, not another one of these. Not another Elder Scrolls V Let's Play. But yes, I am actually going to be Let's Playing Skyrim. The fifth of the Elder Scrolls series. Now, why am I going to Let's Play this? Pretty much because this is one of my favorite games of all time. Not the favorite, honestly, but still one of my favorites. I've already spent a lot of time on this, and it's been some time since I've played it. Finally have the Legendary Edition, and I thought, hey, why not pick this up again? And since I have a channel, why not record it and have some fun with it? I am going to be talking about this opening screen because, you can read the text if you want to. But I kind of have some stuff to say before I start this Let's Play. So yeah. So first and foremost, I know that during the South Park Let's Play, the Let's Play that came before this, that I had kind of a wonky... Well, pretty much I just didn't have an upload schedule. It was like, I feel like recording. Hey, let's record. And then I recorded like 6 episodes and I uploaded them all. So, that happened. But this time I'm actually planning on getting an upload schedule. Especially since this is not going to be like, just 30-minute episodes. This is pretty much going to be me playing to the point where I feel like, here I can stop and then, just stopping the recording. That's why I've decided that I'm going to be uploading this like, twice a week. Probably, I'm thinking about Tuesday and Saturday. Now, I'm planning on that. I do have to warn you, if you're watching this not like, 15 years after it's been uploaded when, I don't know, whatever happened to me, but, I just kind of want to warn you guys that I am getting to my exams. I'm getting pretty close to my exams, and it's possible that once I get there, some of the recording days are going to be skipped. Like, I might skip a Saturday. That's because I have a lot of work. That's not because I don't love you guys. Because I do love you guys. I really do. Now, is there something else really I have to say? Yeah. How is this Let's Play going to be? It's pretty much going to be a story. I've thought out an entire story that I kind of want to bring to the table. And I feel like Skyrim is a game where you can do this perfectly because it's an open world. You can do the main quest, you cannot do the main quest, you can ignore everything they say and just start a killing spree if you really want to. Although you can't kill everything, but stuff like that. So honestly, there's a lot of possibilities here. And that allows me to really make my own story. As I mentioned, I'm going to be talking through this, so when we get to the screen where you have to pick your character, I'm going to just keep on talking. Yeah, sure. Shouldn't keep the gods waiting for us. Awesome. Now, so I'm going to make this into a story. I'm going to make this as believable as possible. I'm going to make my own decisions based on a character that I've thought out. I'm going to try to think like him, act like him, stuff like that. Now, before we get to the thing that a lot of people are probably waiting for, namely, who am I going to be playing, what am I going to be playing, I do kind of want to make a few points, as in, well, I kind of want to mention a couple of things. Biggest thing is, this is a modded playthrough. I've installed a couple of mods via the Nexus mod manager and gotten some mods from the Nexus mod side. Whatever. Got it from a site. The name escapes me right now. So yeah, as you can see, we're about to get to the character creation screen. But we'll get to that in a second. So I kind of want to talk about the mods that I'm going to be using. I'm going to put all of them in the description. But I do kind of want to mention, like, a couple of them. The biggest one I want to mention is Skyrim. The reason I want to mention this one, first of all, is because it changes the game. If you have played Skyrim, you've only played the vanilla game, a couple of things are not going to even make sense, because the trees, like the perk trees, have been completely altered. The what more is there? Spells have been altered. Potions, you know how they're called, have been altered. A lot has been changed. But the reason I really want to mention Skyrim is because of two things. First of all, one of the modules is not on. There is an environment module, I think it's called. Normally in the vanilla game, in the original game, you're able to go into a dungeon, and every enemy you face will normally be around your level. If I'm not mistaken, they scale with you up until a level 32, I think it is. And then, you know, you're just owning them in the face. Now, Skyrim has a module where it keeps on scaling them up with you, I think until level 50, and bosses until level 100. But at the same time, however, it also has an environment module, which means that it's very well possible for you to, as a level 5 character, enter a dungeon where there's level 50 characters. This is the only module of Skyrim I've disabled. The reason for that is very simple. I don't think it's a bad module. I don't at all. I think if I'd just be doing a playthrough for myself, I would sure as hell activate it, and I would probably, you know, play with it, because it makes the game a lot more intense. It makes it a lot harder. However, in this playthrough, I'm not planning on dying 17 times before actually getting through a dungeon, because I want to make a story, and it's not really that believable if someone gives me a quest that I'm going to do, that I'm going to die 17 times, and then, you know, technically I haven't died 17 times because my character's still alive, so he had 17 premonitions, and that's why he decides to get out of the dungeon and do something else. Like, that's not believable. That's not what should happen. That's not what's going to happen. So that's why that's is not going to be in the playthrough. However, at the same time, I also have noticed when I installed Skyrim, there was an uncapper with that. Now, what is the uncapper? The uncapper is a little mod that, first of all, allows your skills to go over level 100. Normally, your skills cap at level 100. Most of these skills will now be capped at 999, except enchanting, because apparently that gives bugs over 199. By the way, people who don't understand what skills and all mean, that'll become really clear the moment I start playing the game. In the meantime, play a little bit with Face. You know, show another side. You know, it's boring if you have to keep on watching the same side. Now, why am I mentioning the uncapper? It was originally installed with Skyrim. For some weird reason, however, it didn't do shit. Like, it literally didn't do anything. I don't know why that is. I don't know how that is, but you know. Then I reinstalled the uncapper apart from Skyrim. I disinstalled the uncapper from Skyrim, uninstalled the original mod, the standalone mod, and then it worked. The reason I'm mentioning this part, however, is because Skyrim, you know, changes the perk trees in a way that there's a lot more perks to be taken, a lot more skills can be upgraded in this way. This also means you need a lot more perks. Now, when I've done, the uncapper also allows you to get more perks when you level up. I've put this on 1.5, which means every time I level up 2 levels, I'm going to get an extra perk. Now, if this would make me if this would make me level up too fast, if at one point I have like way too many perks or something, I'm going to cut that back down to like, you know, 1 or maybe even a half for a couple of levels, and then I'll continue playing like that for a while. This is a test run for me too. I've tried it with like 1.5, but you know, I was actually pretty okay with it because there's a lot you have to take, and you know, stuff like that. Couple other things I want to mention. I'm going to try to leave my mod editing out of the videos as much as possible. That's why some of the mods that you're going to see in the description are not going to be active until episode 2, under which Frostfall and Realistic Needs, which are 2 mods that are going to make it a little bit more immersive. Like, you know, Realistic Needs forces me to eat, to drink, to sleep. Frostfall does not allow me to stand in my does not allow my naked body to be exposed to the top of a mountain too long. Let's just put it like that, because you will die at that point. you pretty much have to use common sense. Like, you know, don't go walking like naked through a snowstorm. Like, you know, everybody who doesn't know that, by all means, go do that. You know, I mean, we don't really want you to breed anyway. So yeah. So there's that. The one thing you are, however, going to have to see a couple of times probably is the Magic Redone mod. It's a mod that I'm trying out. It's something that I really wanted to try for this playthrough. And the modding screen actually, you know, what is Magic Redone? It gives me 39 new spells. But the thing is, if you use the spells enough, they gain experience and they level up. And when they level up, you can give them a perk. And you know, for example, if you have an AoE spell, an area of effect spell, you know, it could be deal more damage, or get a wider range, or something happens to people in that range, or you know, stuff like that. But that, you know, I'm going to have to show that off every now and then, just, you know, A, see how much progress I've made, and B, to upgrade them. So I just want to mention that. So yeah, that's, I think, most of the mod talk. I'm using AFT. I'm going to try to not tinkle too much with AFT during the playthrough itself, so, you know, stuff like that. Alright, so, now I can't even talk anymore. Now I feel it is time to show you guys who our victim is going to be. Alright, take a good look at your new friend if you're going to be following this Let's Play. Now, as you can see, if I can click on it, thank you. I am playing as a Dark Elf, also known as the Dunmer in their home of Morrowind. Dark Elves are a proud and aloof race noted for their stealth and magic skills, as well as their natural resistance to fire. The hereditary animosity of their ancestors still boils within their blood, making them dangerous when wounded and angered. The eruption of the Red Mountains some 200 years ago led to a great exodus, bringing many Dunmer to the neighboring Skyrim, and Wilhelm in particular. However, our hero does not have that. He's not from Skyrim, doesn't live in Skyrim. In the meantime, I'm showing him off a little bit. You know, show my creation. Now, first of all, you know, how about we put a name to our, let's call him victim. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Darlock, the Dark Elf. Now, of course, the most important parts about a character that you make yourself is his story. However, since Skyrim is a game, I cannot show you the entire story, but I can tell you how Darlock got here. Now, Darlock is a, well, you know, I'm not going to say he's young or anything, but he is a man. He's married to a beautiful elf named Elismera, and you know, he's happy. He's had a happy life. You know, he's not happy right now, but, you know, that's noticeable, I guess. He's had a happy life, has a couple of good friends, has a happy life with his wife, doesn't have children, don't worry about that, but, you know, happy life in a small village, not in Skyrim, for everybody wondering. I have no idea where I would put it, to be honest, but still. Now, of course, you know, what does a little village have to do with Skyrim? Pretty much, that is a long story, but I'm going to try to shorten it for you. At one point, Darlock, you know, he meets up with his friends, and his friends go into a nearby small forest. Some of them are hunters, you know. He's not a hunter. He's not really a fighter type. He you know, he doesn't like fighting that much. Knows a little bit of magic. Has had a sword in his hands, but you know, he's not gonna fight with a sword. He knows he doesn't like swords in his hand, honestly. And you know, but you know, his friends ask him like, hey, you know, how about you take a break and, you know, come with us into the forest, you know, have some fun, stuff like that. And of course, you know, they're friends. What does he have to fear? And he goes with them, and they all go into the forest. Now, as I don't know if I'd call it luck, but, you know, let's just use the expression, as luck would have it, some other people are inside that forest as well. None other than a group of bandits, sadly enough. And sadly enough, of course, for Darlock and his friends. Because they are ambushed, and, a small fight breaks out. The elves don't stand a chance. Almost everyone is killed. I'm saying almost because, of course, the only living villain? What? Villain? The only living victim is standing right in front of your eyes behind a little text box with his name in it. So, of course what happens to him? He actually gets knocked unconscious during the fight and gets taken with the bandits. The bandits take him inside of a cart that they have with them. Now, of course, you might be wondering, like, hey, what actually happens? They travel for a couple of weeks. Darlock is their prisoner. He doesn't know what they're actually going to do with him. Like, are they going to sell him? Or are they going to kill him? Like, are they going to give him to someone else? Or are they going to try to make him into a bandit? Because he doesn't really plan on doing that, But stuff like that does tend to happen. I mean, you never know about that. Now, of course, we get to a moment where we get a turnaround. Because even though Darlock is a prisoner, they sometimes do go by road. And, it tends to draw attention if you have someone sitting there with, like, cuffs and you're not Imperials or Stormcloaks or, well, soldiers of wherever the frick they are, because Darlock has no idea where he is right now. Except now that he's in Helgen, but, that's a detail. It tends to draw attention if you're cuffed. So, they haven't really cuffed him, but they have told him, like, if you try to escape, we're going to kill you. Like, there's no choice in it. We're going to die at that point either way. But, you're going to have a decent life if you follow us. However, Darlock never really has the intention of escaping. The reason for that is he feels like he's let his friends down. You could say he's falling into a depression. I mean, he's let his friends down. His friends are all dead. He's captured, but he's the only one who survived, and he feels like he should have died with his friends. However, at the same time, whoever said the story was over. Because now we get to a little bit of a later part. So at one point, the bandits put up camp, ironically near to a small forest. And what actually happens is they're pretty close to the border. But, at one point they see like a small, I wouldn't say it's an army, but it's a group of, soldiers walking in formation. And they're all coming, and in front of them sits a man on a horse, and he drops down, stands in front of them, and introduces himself as Ulfric Stormcloak, the High King. Now, the bandits don't really know anything about what happened in Skyrim. And he starts out with his little charade saying like, yes, well, I am here because I am looking for sons of Skyrim to bring the fight to the Imperials in the Thalmor, and I could use some strong men like you to fight for my side. What do you say? Now, honestly, the bandits are, of course, immediately thinking like, well, that group's a little bigger than ours, and if we're not going to join them, we're probably going to die. So they pretty much try to find an excuse. Because, they're bandits. They don't want to be a part of the army. I mean, come on. And, they're trying to pretty much bring up a story where Darlock is, their master, and they're pretty much bringing him to some family somewhere else. But before they can actually really start that story, at one point there's like this sound, and there's a cry, pretty much. And one of the soldiers in the formation of Ulfric Stormcloak's army, who are known as the Stormcloaks, has an arrow sticking out of his chest. Not a second later, a second guy has an arrow sticking out of his chest. And I think everybody is getting where this is going, because once again, Darlock is in the middle of an ambush. Now, strangely enough, it ends the exact same way with him unconscious, but in this case, it's a little different, you know. It's pretty much, they weren't planning on it. What actually happened is one of the mages of the Imperials who led the Stormcloaks into a trap throws a fireball at the bandits, trying to kill a couple of them as well. Darlock tries to run, sees his chance, and he's just this tiny bit too late and gets knocked unconscious by the fireball. And then he actually wakes up in a cart on its way to Helgen. Now you might be wondering, like, you know, what is Darlock's mood right now? What is he thinking? Is he scared? Is he, you know, happy that it's gonna end? But honestly, he doesn't feel anything. He's not really thinking right now. The only thing he's really thinking is maybe a little bit of relief. That he has paid for not helping his friends, and, you know, maybe in a couple of minutes, he's actually going to join them. But, ladies and gentlemen, this story would not be a very long story if this is what it ended. Because neither we nor he knows what dangers, adventures, and of course, just in general what lies in store for our hero.